Hello, beautiful Aries. How are you? I hope you are off to a great start celebrating your birthday. I hope you're happy and thriving and all that good stuff. So, we're going to work on your birthday reading here for your solar return year. So, this will be good for this birthday 2021 through next birthday 2022. And what we're going to do is we're going to utilize the astrological wheel of the zodiac. So the houses, so houses 1 through 12, each house is a specific theme. And I'll explain it as I go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a card, a tarot card, maybe a couple of cards, depending if we need clarifiers for each house of the zodiac. And it'll give you an indication of what to expect this next solar return year. Now, this is not your actual solar return reading because it's not specific to your birthday and it's not specifically astrology. However, if you are interested in a solar return reading, please feel free to reach out. I'll leave my email information down below for you to book a reading. Okay, so let's get started. All right, Aries, let's see what you have going on. So I'm going to pick cards 1 through 12. Oops, there's some stuff already sticking out here. Okay. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the first half of the wheel is down. Let's see. And 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yay, 12 cards. Okay. Super excited to do this reading for you. And what I'll do is I'll take a picture of the layout here and include it in the thumbnail. So that thumbnail circle that you see, that's what this is, because I know you can't see it all here, unfortunately. Okay, so let's start with the first house, Aries. So the first house is our physicality. It identifies what other people see in us during a first impression encounter. It also kind of gives us a little indication of what we do in terms of to defend ourselves. It's really all about the physicality. It shows us, it gives us an idea in your actual natal chart, a bit about your physicality and whatnot. But most importantly, it's an angular house. And in this case, the first house really sets the tone for the rest of the wheel. And it really is the crux of it all, because this is where it begins and this is where it ends. So let's see for you, for the next birthday cycle, what you've got going in that area. Page of Pentacles. This is beautiful, Aries, because what this is about, first of all, the Pentacles is all about our self-worth. It's about our value system. It's about resources. So when you get this right out of the gate in the first house, it really tells me that you're starting something from scratch pertaining to your resources, pertaining to your own individuality, and also your physicality, because the page begins it all in the Pentacles suit, right? So again, in the first house, the way this would translate is a newfound sense of identity that you're coming into. Perhaps you're learning things about yourself that are helping you increase your value system, or perhaps you are working on increasing your self-worth and your value system. But this is also about your skill set and your talent, because that's our resources after all, right? Like our talents and skills and abilities translate into finances and money. And in this case, what it's telling me is that you're using your energy, your physical energy, to put this forth through this next new solar return year. So it's a really beautiful card to get started with, because what it's telling me is that the sky is the limit here. Okay, so we'll come back to all of these and we'll connect them a little bit more, but let's move on to the second house. Okay, so the second house is about our self-worth, our resources, and the money that we make to support ourselves. This is not the money that comes from other people. This is the money that we create through our own sweat, effort, tears, and our own ability, our own creative, and all that good stuff, okay? 8 of Pentacles. Aries, I love this because what this says is that you're going to be working hard and earning these resources for yourself. This is not going to be a lazy year for you. This is not going to be a sit back, let's see what happens year. This is a time you're being called to really show up in your full essence. And what I love about the Eight of Pentacles is that she's working hard in this imagery here, but she's working hard at something she's enjoying. So it doesn't feel like work. Obviously, depending on what you're working on, some of you are starting new businesses. Some of you are starting new jobs. Some of you are kind of still in the process of figuring it out, right? Because you're in the beginning stages here. But nevertheless, whatever it is that you're going to choose, whether it's to stick it out with the position you currently have, or continue making money in whatever way you're used to making money, or venturing into something completely new, whatever it is that you're choosing to do, you're not going to be lazy about it. You're going to put your full weight into it. You're going to put your ass on the line here, Aries. And I love this for you. The Eight of Pentacles is a beautiful card to get in the second house of resources, money, investments. This is also about literal investments. So if you've been thinking about opening some kind of money market, some kind of investment, make sure that you put work into researching, because this can also be, it's not only an energy card, it's also sort of a, hey, heads up, whatever you choose to do in the area of resources, you need to put effort and work into it. So if you do want to go into some kind of investment, whether it be real estate investment, whether it be mutual market, money index, whatever it is that you're planning, there is an emphasis and a heads up here that's going to be very necessary for you to do the research required and the work, to put work into researching what it is you're getting into. This is not the kind of energy of, oh, let's let the money advisor, the financial advisor figure it out and just bring me the info. No, this is not only saying you're going to work hard in whatever arena you're in that's bringing you money. It also says that whatever's new for you that you want to go into and learn, you need to put some effort into actually researching and learning and working hard to understand what it is you're getting into. Okay. All right, so let's move on to the third house. And the third house is about our day-to-day ongoings. It's also like our relationships with our neighbors, our siblings. It's short-term travel, like where we, our little short trips that we get in our car and drive for 5 hours to get to or whatnot, or like road trips, that kind of thing. But it's also, more importantly, the crux of the third house is communication. It's about our marketing, how we market ourselves, how we present ourselves to the world. This YouTube platform is a third house element. So whether it's you're on TikTok or you're on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, that's all third house relationship stuff, okay? It's your day-to-day. It's the barista that you see every day when you get your coffee. It's that kind of thing. It's also your siblings. I think I already said that, but if I didn't, it's also your siblings. So whatever card you get in this house will give us some indication of how it'll go in the themes that I just mentioned. Six of Cups. So there's a bit of nostalgia going on here. I also feel, this is a very specific thing I just picked up, so it's only going to apply for a handful of you, but I'm picking up that there's someone from the past, somebody that you admire, that you trust. Maybe you're not friends anymore. Maybe you used to be at one point, but someone who holds experience or knowledge in an area to do with marketing that could potentially help your business. Okay, that's very specific. This is only for a handful of you. Now, for the other group of you, for the majority of you, this is about potentially receiving communication from people from our past that in some essence feels like family. Perhaps it was somebody that felt very familiar to you, that felt like family. But in any case, it's somebody that holds beautiful memories with you and your past. So you could come across something like that. Also, it's a beautiful relating card. The Six of Cups is about, even if you're hanging out with your siblings a little bit more, like being more nostalgic of the things you used to do when you were younger. Perhaps, being that it's in the third house of short-term travel, this is indicating a great opportunity to grab your siblings or your neighbor or somebody that represents third house element. Grab them, take a road trip together, get into your memories, your nostalgia. There's something here I'm picking up is going to be very healing for a group of you when it comes to relating in this way of the past memories, the beautiful past memories, not so much the heartbreaking ones, but beautiful. Some of you may also be thinking about your previous pets and, you know, all the lovely memories that you have. I am so sorry, lovelies. My battery died and my recording cut off. So hopefully I'm able to edit this correctly. But anyhow, the third house and 6 of Cups in the third house is a great card, great energy to get. Get your siblings together, get the people you love together and travel. Do something, get on a road trip and allow yourself to have memories. Also, the third house is about writing as well. So you might be writing a memoir, or you might be writing about previous experiences that you've had, you know, with your childhood and whatnot. Okay, so we'll come back to it. All right, so now we move into the 4th house. And the 4th house is literally about our home, how we live, where we live, who we live with. It also represents our roots, our ancestry. Many times it also represents our mother or the nurturing parent. So for those of you whose nurturing parent was the father, this could also represent the father. But in most cases, it's the mother. Now, you got the Devil. So some of you may be dealing with a Capricorn, or you may have a parent who is a Capricorn. That's going to be very significant for you this year, potentially. Now, another thing here too is being aware of how you treat your sacred space, your home this next year. Being very mindful of who you bring into your space, who you bring into your home, who you share the information about your roots. And also, because the Devil can be addiction, obsession, and whatnot, treating your space in such a sacred way that you don't bring addiction to your home, whether it's because you're drinking by yourself, like bottles and bottles of wine or beer or what have you, or potentially doing drugs. And again, this is not judgment. I'm not judging anyone. You live your life the way you want to choose. However, if something breaks your spirit down, and something hurts you, this is a reminder to be very careful what you bring into your space, because it could potentially be harmful if you're not being mindful, okay? Now, on a very positive side of this though, the Devil is ruled by, it's associated with Capricorn, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is all about establishing boundaries, routine, stability, and security. So for some group of you, it is a warning of, hey, be very careful who and what you bring into your space. And also another group of you, you're dealing with a Capricornian energy here that's very prominent in your home life. And this is confirmation of that. And for another group, it's about establishing deeper roots in the home you already are in. So it could be you are establishing roots because you're adding more square footage to your home. It could be because you are now changing the rules of your household. I'm picking up that for some of you are realizing that your children in your home have not necessarily been doing what it is that you would like them to be doing, and there's going to be a need here for redesigning the structure and the order of your day-to-day household needs. All right, so but the biggest message here, because it is the 4th house, also being very aware in terms of your actual edifice, your actual house, home that you live in, apartment, whatever it is that you're in, really making sure the foundation, because again, remember, it can be ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is about foundation and all of that. So in a literal sense, like literally making sure that your foundation is secure. If some of you are purchasing a home, yeah, I got that, I'm hearing it. If some of you are looking for a home currently, make sure that you're in your inspections and whatnot, you're really paying attention to foundation and structure. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the fifth house. And the fifth house represents creativity. It represents our children. It represents whatever we create from our own effort, from like scratch, from nothing to something. So that can be a business that you've created, all things creative, okay? It also represents leisure and fun and hobbies. This is like the cool house. It's ruled by Leo or associated with Leo. So it has a lot of that Leo essence in it, right? So it's very fantastico and big and glorious and woohoo, fun. Okay, so let's see what you've got going on. And everybody always wants to know what's going on in this house. Nine of Wands. So you're feeling a little bit of a, almost like you need to defend yourself or protect yourself. So you may be tempted to, you may be noticing already, maybe you're closing yourself off a little to allowing yourself to have fun. Also, the fifth house is romance. So it can also mean that someone you're meeting is maybe causing you, a romantic partner is maybe causing you to be very, draw the line, have that. You see how she's standing there very defiantly, securing her stance, protecting herself, defending herself from the other wands that are coming at her. So there's something here potentially coming up this year in the area of romance, creativity. There's something, also this is about not releasing your creative work or feeling like you need to hold it back or identifying with your creative work so much that you're not releasing yourself or it because of the fear, or you're maybe prematurely defending your work. I hope that makes sense. I feel it and I see it very vividly, but sometimes I don't know that I articulate it well enough. But what's interesting here is that although she is defiantly standing there, securing her ground and defending herself, there's evidence that she doesn't really want that she actually wants to open up her heart and her light, because you see that very tiny light at the top of her wand. She really wants to, she doesn't want to be burdened by these defense mechanisms. And there's a little spark of light that if the right person helps light that up and drop her wand, it will go successfully. So this is what I'm going to tell you here, Aries, as it pertains to fifth house matters. Whatever business you're starting, whatever creative you're creating, whatever words you're writing, whatever romance you're starting, or perhaps you want to have children because it is also the house of children, whatever's coming up that's making you fearful of releasing yourself, meaning showing up authentically in it, seek and look for your supporters, the people who want to take that little light and expand it, the people who want to take that wand from you, take the others away. I'm not saying rely on others. I know you don't like to rely on people, Aries, but I'm saying allowing others to show you your light when you can't see your own light. And allow others to expand light that you already have, as small as it is, and as much as you're blocking everything else. Because I don't get the sense that these wands coming at you. Now, typically, when I see this, it is about there's a lot of energy coming at someone and they need to draw the boundaries. That's not what I'm picking up here intuitively. What I'm picking up here is the wands represent your fears. The wands represent the people, you being afraid of what others are going to think, and therefore you're already prematurely reacting in this defensive mode that can potentially hurt you because you have a lot to offer, and it's here. You can see a little bit of it, and it just needs the right atmosphere, the right people, the right support group maybe. So whatever it is that you're fearing or feeling insecure, also like if you're going through some kind of imposter syndrome, look for some groups. Look for a group of people that will support you, that will hype you up, that will lift you up, because this can also be an indicator that perhaps you're not around the right people. Okay? All right. Sixth house. The sixth house is about our health. It's about routine. It's about details, how we do with details, our specificity in our life, the routines that we put forth to improve our health or decline our health, because, it can be either way, right? So this is, I feel, a very important card, because if you're not doing so well in that area, the foundation crumbles, right? So let's see what you have there. Oh my goodness, Knight of Cups. So this could be a couple of things, because this can symbolize either love, like romantic love, being offered to you, or the opportunity to create, right? Because it's on the same vein. It's the cups, a Knight of Cups. And the Knight of Cups offers us something. Sometimes it's love. Other times it's the creative projects or the opportunity to create. Or something beautiful, creatively beautiful, that makes us expand. Like you may have discovered a new art form or modality that makes you just light up and be more Aries, right? But in this case, it fell in your sixth house. Remember, we got to tie these into the theme of the houses. And there are a couple of things that could be happening here. Either A, the person that you are romantically getting involved with this year, or that you are involved with, can have a direct effect and correlation to your health. It can either help it, or they will help it, improve it. And for me, I'm feeling a very positive energy here in the sixth house. So allow yourself to expand with this new person that's coming in to kind of feed that element of your life. It can also be a creative project that makes you feel alive again, that literally heals your cells. Because I'm a true believer that if you're with the right person, if you're dating the right person, if you're married to the right person, if your friends are the right people for you, if the creative project is good for you, I'm a huge believer that it heals our cells. Like literally that energy of love and expansion. I believe that we heal that way. I believe that. And so when I do my readings, I look at, I read that, I weave that in, right? And then the sixth house, what this is saying is, also the sixth house represents our day-to-day work, like the people we work, not the people we work with, but the work that we go to, whether you're doing it from home or you're actually driving somewhere to go to work or whatever. So some of you may have some kind of romance going on in the workplace as well. Or a creative project in the workplace that now is lighting you up and you're feeling like yummy about, right? In any case, this is a great indication that something is improving your health here this year. All right, you're getting beautiful cards so far, Aries. So let's move on to the upper horizon, and that starts with the seventh house. And the seventh house is the relationship house. So this will give us an indicator. As the reading starts opening up, you start to see a progression of things, right? So let's see if there's any relationship here with the sixth house in terms of a person or relationship. But in any case, the seventh house represents all things relationship, the contracts that we make with other people. In many cases, it does represent any legal potentials like legalities or whatnot. It also represents the other side of contracts. So not just the marriage and the partnerships in business, but it also represents like divorce or, the dissolution of partnerships as well. So partnerships in this house can be love partnerships, but also business partnerships, okay? So let's see what you got. Are you kidding me? The Ace of Cups. Come on now, you can't make this stuff up, Aries. Woo, woo, you got love coming. You got love. Okay, silly. You got some love coming. Now, this love doesn't necessarily have to be an actual romantic relationship. It can be love of your new business and you're partnering up with someone new here in a business venture. It can be love for a new creative or a product that you're creating and it's expanding your partnerships with others. But I am feeling a big dose of love in the romantic department here, Aries. So that's freaking exciting. And what I love about this, it's at the ace, right? The ace is the beginning of everything. So when you're at the tippy tip beginning, it doesn't guarantee that it's going to work out. but it does guarantee that you have an opportunity to create what you need or want to create in this new relationship, whether it's a business partnership or a love partnership. It's about expanding yourself and allowing yourself to create something new from scratch, okay? All right, beautiful. Let's move on to the 8th house. The 8th house is about our shared resources with other people. It's also about, the money that comes to us from others, other resources. So for example, the loans we get, the taxes that we owe or we get paid, inheritance lives in the 8th house. It's also about merging with other people, so merging assets or sharing assets and sharing money. Very opposite from the 2nd house. Remember earlier when we were talking about the 2nd house is about your own effort and what you bring to the table. The 8th house is a little different. The 8th house is about the effort that you create and build with others, okay? It's also the death house, the house that represents death, literal death too. But the way we use it in astrology more often is the death of identity that we create. So many times it can represent a transformation. So for example, if you were to get the Tower in the 8th house, I would say you're definitely going through a transformation of your identity, right? Things like that. So let's see what you got. Really, okay. Page of Cups. All right, so you've got already 1, 2, 3. Look at this. You start with the Knight of Cups in your 6th house of routine and work, and then you go into the Ace of Cups for new love and partnership in your 7th house, and then now you're at Page of Cups. It's another card about emotional satisfaction, love, creativity in your 8th house of merging with others. I'm feeling 2 things here. There are definitely groups of you who are going into strong, creative business partnerships. Now remember, creative doesn't have to mean all the things like drawing and painting and instruments. It could be a business that you're starting. Remember, creativity is about creating something different, new, that's unique to you and your energy. It doesn't have to be about artiste things, like painting. It can absolutely be that. But this includes anything that we do from our own effort, from scratch, and that we create from our own intelligence, our own genius, our own soul, if you will. And you have a Page of Cups. And the Page of Cups is an apprentice and is a newbie in whatever he or she is doing, right? But the beauty about the Page of Cups is that the page always shows up with an open heart. The page is an apprentice. Therefore, they're doing something not because of the money, not because of prestige, but because they love it. And so you getting the Page of Cups in the 8th house tells me that you're going to go into some very important partnerships and merge, even potentially your finances, because of something that inspires you. So whether this is because you're merging money with a romantic partner because they inspire you or the relationship inspires you, or you merge your intellectual assets, your intellectual efforts with another partner that you're creating something with because it inspires you. This is all beautiful and very supportive energy. Okay, let's move on. 9th house. So the 9th house is about a higher learning. It's about traveling. It's about learning new languages. Also, the 3rd house is about learning new languages, but more like lower level basics, ABCs. And the 9th house is a lot more elevated knowledge. It's also the house of teaching, mastership. It rules universities and things like astrology and learning astrology, esoteric, along with the 8th house. The 8th house is also esoteric and highly psychological, by the way. I forgot to say that. Also, the 8th house is sexuality. I forgot to say that too. I always forget a thing here or there, but there's so many themes within themes, right? But we'll come back and we'll do a little fixer-upper here, or. So anyway, Ninth house can also, it's our foreign interests. So the things that we're interested in, like foreign lands that we want to travel to, foreign people that we're dealing with, all those good things. So let's see what you got there. Wow, you got the Knight of Wands. So you're definitely going to travel because the Knight of Wands, first of all, Wands is about energy, movement forward, physically moving and going towards something. And the Knight is also about movement and going somewhere. And this particular Knight of Wands is very fiery and electric. And so a couple of things are going to happen here. Ninth house is very spiritual. Also energy work. I'm feeling that a lot of you are going to come with these two combined, the 8th house of the esoteric and the hidden, and the 9th house of higher elevation, spirituality, mastership, shaman type of work. These cards tell me a lot of you are entering a very spiritual time here. But this Knight of Wands is something that you discover on your own. This is not a Knight of Wands that's with someone in that discovery. So I feel that there's some kind of course here. Also, you're learning how to master something. You're learning how to teach something. And there's an indication here that you're feeling very comfortable in that higher elevated spirituality and showing up as the guru, if you will, the teacher, the master. But you're also very much going to be comfortable in the sense of foreignness, foreign land, discovering new languages. There is an indication here. You're gonna travel. I'm feeling lots of travel. I'm feeling learning through travel. Potentially some of you are learning a new language. There's a fire in here. And hey, everyone, the minute everyone's vaccinated or not, or whatever, the pandemic's changing, COVID numbers are changing, everyone, I feel like the whole world is going to be traveling. It's going to be bananas, but some more than others. I really feel that this pandemic has made people more homebodies, just in general, and others are realizing how much more they need to explore, how important and intricate that is a part of their lives. And that's definitely something for you, Aries. And this is a huge indicator. You're literally are waiting. You're like at that gate, waiting for the opportunity to travel, learn, expand, teach. Like you're just waiting for the opportunity. Some of you are already going, but there's some huge elevation happening here for you in the sense of foreigners and, again, all the things I just said. Okay, we'll come back to it. Let's go to the 10th house. The 10th house is our purpose, our day-to-day purpose, what we show up for, how we show up for it in terms of our social standing in life. It can indicate career as well. Many times it can also indicate what we're supposed to be doing, but even if we're not necessarily doing it yet. So you may have a career doing XYZ, but the 10th house kind of, shows a different thing that perhaps you should be doing. So the 10th house, the crux of it is your career, your social standing, how you show up in the public eye, that kind of thing. Different from the 5th house public eye, because the 5th house can talk about the public eye, but in a more creative realm, where the 10th house is more like politics, public eye, if you're into that, or just career in general. So let's see what you get there. The 2 of Pentacles. So you're going to be given an opportunity to choose. You're going to have a point this year. Remember, this is a 1-year reading, right? It's a solar return reading, meaning it begins at the time of your birth through next year. And some of you are already starting to feel this energy. It's already showing up, but you're going to start showing it up. You're going to start seeing the layers of it as the year unfolds, okay? Now, you got the 2 of Pentacles. Pentacles does represent finances, resources, money, okay? And you got it in the house of career and social standing. And the 2 of Pentacles is about deciding between two things. Sometimes those two things are opposites. Sometimes they're so similar, and that's what makes it hard to choose from. Some of you may be choosing between staying at home and being a parent or going to work. Some of you may be choosing between leaving a career or starting a new business, right? That kind of duality, that kind of decision making. You can potentially just be deciding between two very different jobs or two very different ways of making money, because that's what this is about, the 10th house tied with pentacles, okay? Also, the 10th house traditionally represents the paternal parent or the fatherly parent. Again, for most people, it is the father, but for other people, the mother can sometimes play the paternal role if that's how things work out in your household, right? Everyone's different. We're all so different. Remember, the 4th house, like I said here, was potentially nurturing maternal side, and now the 10th house is the same thing. But in general, both houses, they belong on the same axis, right? So they look at each other on the opposite side of the wheel in astrology. So they affect each other, is my point. And remember what we were saying earlier about this house here in the 4th house talking about structure? So you could be, if you look at the axis point here, the 10th house facing the 4th house, there could be a couple of things happening here. Number one, yes, you're choosing between two things, but also there could be a shift or a change happening in terms of your parents, in terms of the structure they used to know. I'm feeling like a shift in structure potentially for some of your parents. Maybe they're moving. Maybe you're moving them to assisted living, or they're moving in with you, or you're moving in with them. I'm really feeling that in your reading, this axis is very connected for you this solar return year, for many of you. So again, that could be a thing. Also, it can represent for some of you, whoever plays the fatherly role, the paternal role, it could be that there's some decisions here that need to be made regarding that parent or for that parent or by that parent, okay? But in general, it's about making a decision. And something I just got a hit right now to remind you that sometimes having to make these decisions, sometimes you don't have to make a decision. Sometimes you can choose two things, okay? I just heard that was a message for someone, because there's somebody here watching that feels like they have to decide between two things, and Spirit is telling me not all things, it's not always this or that. Sometimes it's and, right? So you maybe can be a stay-at-home parent and have a job, or you maybe can start your business and keep your job. You get what I'm saying. Okay, so for some of you, just know that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Not yet, not right now. And Spirit is supporting you and saying it's okay if you don't do it all at once. Okay. Let's move on to the 11th house. I love the 11th house. The 11th house is originally ruled by Aquarius. Aquarius is a very just free-spirited sign. I love it. It feels comforting to me. And here in the 11th house, it's all about wishes fulfilled. It's also about our networks. It's about our friendships. It's about the people who support us, the people who are a part of our life, our big groups, like our memberships that we belong to, like the meetups that we belong to. It also talks a bit about like online relationships as well. And I don't mean romantic necessarily. It can be any other type of interaction, especially now that we're all interacting via Zoom and Skype and whatnot. That would also be the 3rd house. But right now I'm feeling like for you, Aquarius is the house that we're going to look at more for the online piece of it. Okay, so let's see what you got there. 9 of Swords. So there is something here. Maybe potentially some of you are feeling lonely. Like maybe you don't have the memberships or the friendships that you wish you had. Or maybe some of you are like me, like I'm like, where's my windfall? Where's my wishes fulfilled? That kind of thing. But really, in all seriousness, this is the card of keeping someone up at night. feeling sad, sorrow. But what I do like about this card is that it's the Swords card. And Swords usually represents the mind, right? So really more that it's in our mind than it is real. Not to say that your feelings are not valid. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that when you do have the feeling of sadness or sorrow that you don't have the friends you want, or that the friends that you, the support that you would like to have from your memberships and whatnot, just remember that the Swords energy is temporary. It's passing once you take action. The antidote or the remedy to a Nine of Swords energy is to take action, right? Because Swords is very, very headsy. It's in the head, it's in the mind, it's the overthinking. So there is something here that's keeping you up at night, that's having you overthink in the area of friendships, memberships, maybe even the online, for those of you who are YouTubers, for example. We all know that there are trolls and people that are not very nice, whether you're on TikTok or Instagram or whatever. So for those of you who are influencers or who are out in this kind of medium, right, you could be, this is a bit of a warning, not to allow behaviors of other people, potentially trolls, negativity, to get to you in the area, because remember, it also represents that we were talking about. And also remember that the remedy to the Nine of Swords is movement, action. And also the Swords is communication too, right? So two things here: communicating, like being direct and communicating, but then also you want to get done with that energy, take some action, whatever it is for you that will make the situation better. Okay, now the 12th house will end the wheel. And not only does it end the wheel, but it gives some indication of how the wheel starts again, okay? The 12th house is all things hidden. The 12th house is a very spiritual house. It's also a very dark house. It has both faces, right? Like every house has both good, I would say light and maybe shadow, right? Everything, every astrological sign, every house of the zodiac, every element, everything has two sides to it, right? And it depends on what side you choose to live on of that coin. The 12th house is one of the most feared houses in astrology, along with the 8th house, because it's also very esoteric. It's the house we kind of, it's the stuff that lives in the background that has influence on us that we have no freaking idea is influencing us, okay? That's what that is. It's ruled by Pisces. It's a very Neptunian house, so Neptune is usually known with confusion and illusion. Now, the beautiful side of the 12th house is the creativity that can happen in the 12th house. The storyteller, this is great for the storytelling, creating poetry, creating music, creating romantic gestures, and all that yummy stuff lives in there, while some dark things also live in there. So let's see how you are doing with, you're fine. You got the World. The World. Aries. Okay, first of all, the World, in terms of time, indicates 1 year. The World, I love that it's in the 12th house, because what it's saying is that the end of your year, the way your year ends, is going to be successful. This is a card of success. This is about starting to see the fruition of things. Like you're going to see by this time next year, you're going to see a lot of success in these houses in the areas that we talked about. Listen, you got a really good reading here. The only two things to really focus on, and I want you to just 3 things here, okay, Aries? Because this is a success card. This is about ascension, spiritual ascension, financial ascension, achievement. This is about being in your own skin, loving your own skin, and allowing yourself to shine. This is about ending cycles at the right time that cycles need to end, to begin new ones, to bring even more success, more growth, and more ascension. This is how you're ending The 12th house is the final house. Like I said, it begins the new one. So you're ending on a high note to begin a new high note. But there are 3 things that you need to be mindful of throughout this next year and that you need to watch. The first one is 4th house. Who and what you bring into your home. Be cautious, be mindful. This is not about being an alarmist. It's not about me saying, don't bring anyone to your home. It's just make sure you know who you're bringing into your space. Make sure you know what you're bringing into your space. How much are you drinking alone at home? And is it helping your highest version of you? But remember the flip of that. I spoke about the flip. The flip is about creating structure because it's Capricorn ruled by Saturn. And it's in the area of home and house that you live in, okay? It's about looking at your foundation for those of you who are looking for houses, a home to purchase or live in or whatnot, okay? Remember that. The other thing to be aware of this year is this defensiveness in the 5th house of love and creativity, or this kind of, I don't want to get hurt, so I'm not going to put myself out there energy, and allowing others to, like, not believing people, like, you know, when they give you a compliment because if you're creative and you're just like, oh yeah, whatever. No, this is the opposite. This is taking it, embracing the compliment, and allowing that to continue to light you up more and more and more. Okay. So this is the warning here. I said it. The warning here in the 5th house of creativity, love, and romance. Allow yourself to open up. Allow yourself to open up. This whole chip on my shoulder thing, no, not going to serve you. And then finally, the 9 of Swords. Remember what I said. Take action. Some of you are getting trolls this year, especially you influencers. But remember, this is more on the mind than the actuality. This will hurt. If it hurts you, it's more on the mind and your ability to, like, there's a lot of overthinking here. In other words, they can't really hurt you. Okay? And the antidote for this, or the remedy for this, is action. And action doesn't have to mean get revenge on the people who are doing whatever. It can just mean taking action, putting your energy into something else. Let the trolls do what they're going to do. Put your energy somewhere else, grow in that area, expand yourself, elevate your vibrations so that those trolls can no longer find you. Number 1. Number 2, for those of you who are suffering because you don't have friendships, or because something happened, you had a falling out with somebody you once trusted, or a group you once trusted, remember action. Go get yourself some new friends. Get yourself in a new group. Start your own group. Okay? Aries are really good at that. Aries are really great at starting meetups, starting things, taking initiative. Okay? But everything else, Aries, this is beautiful. This is a fantastic year for you. I'm super excited. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep shining. And most importantly, Aries, I need to remind you of this. Remember to lift others up. Lift others up. The more you lift others up, the more you rise, Aries. Especially Aries people. Okay? All right, lovelies. Have a wonderful birthday. Happy solar return. Happy spring equinox. Remember, the spring equinox is your season. You are Aries. You set the tone for astrology. You're the first sign of the zodiac. You're the initiator. You're a cardinal sign. Go make life happen. Inspire others with your energy. You are loved. Bye.